Good day, everyone. This is Pilot Needles, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at lasers and DDO and on the tabletop. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Dracula.
Hey now, everybody. I'm undead again, I guess.
You're undead again?
Long story. We'll talk about that in a second, why we've been MIA for a long time, if some of the listeners don't know.
Yes. I've heard that the Brotherhood has been giving you trouble again.
Yes.
You had to sort through your inventory first.
There you go. That's right. On my main and all of my alts. That's right.
Yes. And as you've heard, you can also welcome our special guest for tonight, the DDO community manager, Cordovan.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Hello there, Cord, and welcome back to the show.
Yeah, it's great to be back. I have not been on DDO Players News for quite some time, but it's great to see everything cooking along and nice to be here.
I was trying to see when the last time you were on, and it has been quite a while. I couldn't actually find
a year?
A year? Probably something close to that, or more, but it has been a long
time flies.
Well, and you're a little busy with, a few things too, so.
Yes, it has been very busy here.
Yeah, and I apologize. We have not had a show for a while. I got super sick, and turns out it was that COVID thing that everybody has been talking about for the last 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I myself got it very late as well. I got it around Thanksgiving this year.
Yeah.
Of this past year for the very first time. So
don't recommend. If you haven't had it, don't get it. Not a good time.
Not a good time.
Not a good time at all. So yeah,
I'll have to make a note of that.
Exactly. Stay far away, Pine Leaf. Stay away.
Stay far away.
So yeah, that's why I apologize. We were gonna have several shows since the last show, and that kind of kicked me down, and I stayed down for a little while with that. So not a good time, but I'm on the mend now. So here we are.
Wow. Then
you have to cast both curse and disease. That's how you have to get.
Remove curse and remove disease. Yeah.
That's what it was. I didn't remove the curse. It was just that's the problem.
You gotta remember, COVID is the local world's version of mummy rot.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's about the truth. Let me tell you.
Let's then go into our game news this week, where we like to wish Dungeons & Dragons Online happy 17th anniversary.
Yeah. On Tuesday, 17 years.
That is freaking amazing just to think about. This game has been around for 17 years. That is so awesomely amazing.
It's been a good time, but we have a lot going on because of it. We had update 50. Well, I don't want to spoil the news here, but we had a lot of stuff come out.
Right. Well, I mean, that's kind of old news at this point, but yeah, we're going to talk about it, but yeah.
Okay.
We've got the anniversary event, of course, is running again. You can find that in House Bjarlin. Giving away set of armor for free. Just talk to the Djinn, and you can get that set of armor.
And we've extended the anniversary event through Sunday, March 19th. So you have a couple extra weeks to do it.
And do you want to talk about why it was extended?
Because ultimately, why not? Really was the honest truth. We were like, well, maybe we should extend it. And they were like, well, why don't we just extend it? I mean, gosh, just a couple of weeks seems kind of short, doesn't it? Yeah, kind of. Okay, well, let's just go through the 19th then. Great.
Great, done. Extended.
So, yeah.
Just don't hit that button until the 19th. Got it.
Yep. But that's pretty much the reasoning for it. There was some question initially about whether the anniversary event was awarding the proper number of party favors. I can say for sure that it has been since our last hotfix, at least, of 58.0.1. This year, you do get an extra party favor for defeating the, is it Hunthound? I'm sorry, the name is skipping my brain right now in terms of the Feywild Hound that's associated with Steel Star's fight this year. It awards an extra party favor.
Okay.
So if you are running +5, if you're level 32 running at 37, you're getting the maximum amount of party favors by defeating each one of the devs and the Hound. So you got full 5 stars, technically 6 stars then. You will get an extra party favor and you'll have 13. versus the previous max total of 12. But I think there was some confusion about whether it was awarding 13. I can say it is for sure. I even just have been doing it myself. So, yes, whatever bug may have existed is gone now. And it's not clear exactly how widespread it was to begin with.
Excellent. I haven't run it yet. I need to run it now. I have
heard
more time.
rumors, but I've yet to see any pics, if you know what I mean.
Also, in with that, there is some anniversary things going over in the DDO market as well. This is through March 5th, so you have a couple days as of this episode.
Yeah, this is the final weekend then for it.
Yeah.
So in particular, we do have 25% off Isle of Dread. That may be of particular interest to some people. Again, this is in the DDO market. But that's where you'll find the stuff. And we also have, I should call up my own list here. Give me just one quick second.
Yeah, it's 25% off Isle of Dread, also Sinister.
I could
Secret
almost do
Assault
it from
Mars.
memory, but I want to make sure I get my percentages right. 25% off Isle of Dread and Sinister Secret Assault Marsh, 50% off Fables of the Feywild, 75% off Masterminds of Sharn. You maybe do want to jump on that if you don't have Sharn and you want it.
Yeah.
And then 75% off the Expansion Trove, which is sort of the bundle of things prior to that. So,
Which those are heck of a deals if you don't have any of those expansions.
many people
go-
already do, either
get
from
them,
the
right.
kind of 99-point sales we've done in the past and things like that. But if you don't, it's a really good opportunity to get it.
Also, the Wish of Inheritance is back in the store through March 5th as well.
Otto's boxes are in there.
Oh,
And double bonus points as well.
I forgot about the McRib DDO was back. How could I forget about that?
Yeah. And double bonus points. That's in the
yeah.
video store as well. But all that is through this weekend. It's through March 5th. So kind of a last chance to pick this stuff up at these deeper discounts and availability depending on what we're talking about here.
But
on the plus side, though, we do have a bonus, which is Guild Renown. That kicked off today. 25% Guild Renown through the weekend as well.
So okay.
It's not all about the dollars and cents.
I'm going to have to take advantage of that because I found out last night to get a bigger airship for our guild, we need to be level 40, so we need 3 more levels. So.
Oh, we do have, this is our guild sale. It's good timing, frankly, because our guild sale is this week as well. So
is it?
guild items are up to 50% off.
Oh, Guild Renowned Elixirs.
Yeah. Those are 20.
Well, I might be spending 20% off to get some of those then. Perfect timing indeed. It's like it was planned that way. Look at that. But no, seriously, it's so great to see DDO still alive and kicking after 17 years.
And just for those maybe who haven't heard the news, we do have the anniversary event in game through March 19th. We are giving away a free cosmetic armor. You can just pick it up by speaking to the genie once per day. This is in House Fjarlin, kind of towards the back by the Fjarlin chapter house, where the anniversary event is. And then Update 58 brought a new free dungeon, which you can access through the cliffside docks of Sharn and kind of over by the Moorgrave University section. And there's a free quest there. And then Update 58 also has 3 free archetypes, which are available to everyone in the game who
Hey,
wants.
you're spoiling our news for this week.
All right.
Well, I thought
right.
that's what I thought that was maybe part of the old news that you were talking about.
I mean, it kind of is, but it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. And that's Acolyte of the Skin, Blightcaster, and Dark Hunter. So
Which we might as well talk about Update 58 now.
Okay,
'cause
let's go to Update 58, where we are going to have an opportunity to kill some rats, I hear.
yes, at least 10 of them.
You know, I am so glad I watched I didn't get to watch it live because I was at work, but I watched your Friday stream from this week, or last week, I should say. And I am so glad you brought up the Kill 10 Rats blog because I thought about the very first time I heard this quest name. I was like, man, I missed that blog.
Yeah, I read it all the time.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Me too. And you had talked about that, and I was just like, see, he gets it. That was a great. I wonder whatever happened to those guys.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But anyway, so 58. I have yet to run that quest. I think Pinely did it. You ran that, haven't you?
I believe I did it when it was on Lamania.
Oh, okay. Well, we might have to jump in and run that.
It's free. There is named loot.
And so that I'll never see.
And I like the quest a lot myself.
Yeah, I watched you run it, and it looked like it was a pretty neat quest. So yeah, that is Kill 10 Rats. That's 18 on Heroic and 34 Legendary.
I think that's true.
And that is in the Sharn docks. And of course, with Update 58, like you said, we do have the new archetypes, which I can say after playing last night, thank you for the Dark Ranger. Thank you.
Oh, the Dark Hunter.
The Dark Hunter, yeah.
I have not had time in my life. It's been exceptionally busy these past few weeks, so I haven't actually had time to roll up my own Dark Hunter, because I mostly want to figure out which character I want to probably either use a +20 on or reincarnate. I haven't figured that part out yet either. And so I haven't made my Dark Hunter yet, but that's the one I'm going to go for first. Although I'm tempted by Acolyte of the Skin. I've not really played anything like that.
Yep, so. Me neither. I almost went with one of those too, but then I was just like, no, I hyped up the Dark Hunter too much, so I got to do that. But can't say the wait was worth it. I love it.
And then, of course, when he's making his Dark Hunter and getting all excited about the 3 new ones, I say, okay, let me create another Storm Singer.
Yeah. How many Storm Singers do you have now?
I think I only 2 of them.
Only 2? No, you've got to have more than that.
I don't think so, because I didn't have too many character slots available.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't think I need more than 2 of them, right?
I mean,
one for solo play and one for group play.
Okay, sure. You have a point. But yeah, this update brought us the Dark Hunter, which of course is the Ranger. Then we have the Blight Caster, which is the Druid, which that one kind of interests me too a little bit. I'm not a big Druid player, but I might have to roll up one of those to check that out. And then the other one is the Acolyte of the Skin, which is the Warlock, which excites me a lot, but not as much as the Dark Hunter did. But
they're going to have trouble topping that in the next time when they add an archetype, right?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what's upcoming.
I have to figure out also how I want to build my Dark Hunter. I've looked at the tree, I've seen it on Lamania, I did a little playing around with it, but I haven't really decided, like, do I want to go pew-pew, maybe like more into Inquisitive? Do I want to kind of be more bow-focused? I haven't really decided yet. I don't know.
Yeah, trust me, I spent a painful amount of time figuring that out. Yeah. I'm doing quite the splash between a couple trees. So
I understand it's pretty easy to get evasion. Is it ASMR? Which one of the trees is it? You can get evasion from it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which like the more I looked at it, I'm like, okay, if I go a little bit into this tree, I can go not very deep and get some very useful skills that will work with the Dark Hunter tree, which the Dark Hunter tree has a lot of good stuff in it. I really so far am enjoying the Dark Wolf as well, which is the animal companion you get. Mm-hmm. But I just, so far, like I said, we've Pine Leap and I played we'll talk about later in the show, but we played last night, and this was like my first time actually playing the archetype, and I was like, okay, yes. Because I used to build Rangers sort of like this, because I would always do a Ranger like rogue combo. And it's like, this just makes it so much easier because you don't have to, it's not quite as hard to build them now with this. So I for one appreciate the dev that came up with this idea. Hey, speaking of that, did you want to talk a little bit about how you guys come up with the ideas for these? I mean, I'm sure that there's a lot that goes into it, but...
Well, it mostly just comes down to the design team kicking around ideas, looking through source material for inspiration, but realistically often just kind of coming up with a core concept that, sets it apart enough to sort of feel like its own thing. And I think we've been pretty successful in finding archetypes to, bring to the game. And we've now done 6 of them. And so it's but it is largely an organic process. I think that just like many things in DDO, there are so many ideas that we could do given unlimited time and the ability to think and then
can
create,
imagine,
right? So
right?
you know, we've got 6, but we've probably brainstormed dozens and dozens. Yeah, I mean that's just the reality of how it works.
I can imagine.
So we have a deep resource to pull from for these things, and a lot of cool ideas kicking around.
There is a whiteboard somewhere in an SSG headquarters I would love just to get a peek at. Because I'm sure it would be amazing to see, oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes. Oh, please do that.
Yeah.
And then also in the update, there was, of course, bug fixes, as always. There's quite a bit of them. We've linked the notes over in our show notes, so you can go and actually go over to our site and get the show notes, and it'll link you straight to DDO.com for the update notes. We won't read through all of them because it was quite the big update, actually. Just a couple things that we can point out, though. Shifters are no longer going to see a duplicate feat under the shifter racial choice in the character sheet. Primal Avatar Mantle of Nature. The Thorn now has its correct tooltip in the buff bar. A lot of little things like that. Is there any of the notes that you think we should really point out, Cordovan?
Yeah, the couple of UI elements that maybe would get overlooked if you don't know how to look for them. There's a new gameplay option called Show Detailed Chest Information. It is turned off by default. So if you want to turn it on, the first time you hit a chest and generate its loot, the chest will print out information about its ransack information into your chat log. You're the only person who gets that. It's client side only, but it'll print out like sort of how you're sitting in terms of how often you've hit that chest and whether you're experiencing ransack. So it may be something you want to do, particularly if you are farming for specific items. And we've also done some changes to like tooltips. Names of feats and enhancements are now larger to make it kind of easier to read. SLA tooltips now have their spell information, like the spell point cost, DC, school, that kind of thing. And we've also made some changes to how we display feats to players. Like on character creation, they now display in categories that are make a little more sense. The summary at the bottom and at the last stage of advancement will show you all feats without category views. So you can just kind of get a list of what feats you have without kind of them being condensed underneath plus signs and things like that. And we've done a few other things like that as well. So you might want to take a look at some of the UI changes. But I think those are probably the 2 biggest ones to call out.
And I noticed last night that I guess I didn't realize it bothered me as much as it did, but there is a note in here that journals have a slightly more readable font and contrast. And they do. It was so much easier to read last night. I guess I
a little bit of negative feedback on that as well, so I think we're open to hearing from players on how you like it.
I liked it.
It's easier to read, but did we pick the right font, for example, something like that? So I think we've got opportunity there in the future if we need to. But that's the intention, is that you kind of get used to it if you've been playing for a very long time.
I guess that's what it was.
But then when you actually see it fresh with fresh eyes, you're like, oh, okay. Right.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of how it was at first, because when I first went into my journal, I was like, whoa, what's this? And I'm like, oh, I kind of like this.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right, so like I said, go over to our show notes. You can get the full update 58 Unlikely Heroes release notes if you'd like to see all of them, because there is a bunch in there. We kind of hit over them. I think the big thing with this patch, though, is the Newt dungeon and, of course, the archetypes.
Then, if you really want to read all of the release notes, you also make sure that you check out the updates for 58.0.1, where it looks like they had to tweak 1 or 2 things after the release.
Yeah, it looks like champions are no longer appearing in raids, except for parts of Killing Time, as they are supposed to be there, so they are still there. That's actually kind of funny that champions were just in raids, I think. That's kind of funny. I'm sure some people were not happy with it, but...
Well, it was more about why were they showing up in raids all of a sudden.
Right.
And we realized there was, I think, something related to, like the way items and such communicate to each other that just didn't proc correctly when we released update 58, and so we had to do a little bit of kind of work behind the scenes to reproc it. And it sounds dangerous, but it was fine. It's just this thing was not reading something it was supposed to be reading, and so all sorts of things that were barred from happening were suddenly possible, and it was like, whoa, that's weird.
Whoa,
that was ultimately the reason we did this hot fix, right? That's
right.
Not something you want to just sort of leave open. But it did have the visible impact of having champions.
Right. I can only imagine the first time somebody's running a raid and they're like, wait a minute, what's he doing in here?
Yeah.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
The Blade of Jack Gibbers is now properly turning you undead, and it now properly kills you over time.
Oh, wonderful.
So that is a good thing.
The marked target on showing again on for green arrows is also related to that same bug. It's the same reason the champions were showing up.
Really?
So, yep,
see, that's amazing to me, that how, like, you guys do a change and then, like, something, just a change that you made would make those two changes that you have to go in and fix them, because, you know, it's that halo effect of this affects this and that. That's why I do not envy the devs at all.
Thankfully, this one we were able to catch pretty quickly, so...
The repair amplification now functions correctly. Warlock's Fiend packs, once again, are dealing the appropriate fire damage. The anniversary event now has the correct maximum level of 37. Thorn Blade is now properly made of wood. That one made me laugh when I first read that. Greater single weapon fighting and improved shield mastery should have the missing icons appearing again. Dark Hunter's action boost now have their appropriate maximum charges. If you're mounted while in Plague Wolf form, you are now properly dismounted. And the Thornkin and Thorn Knight forms will now use their correct art.
And that known issue is ultimately the thing that kind of we put out there, because we had heard upon the release of 58 that maybe the number of party favors was not being returned correctly. It came from someone's Twitch stream ultimately.
Oh, okay.
And we had briefly seen an issue during staging as well, so we kind of just said, well, let's just put out a word that it's not wording it correctly. But by the time we'd actually released update 58.0.1 here, it appears to have been fixed, because from that point on, at least I was getting 13, which is the proper number of party favors to receive from doing +5. And
right.
I validated it myself again on Monday, I guess it was.
So there you go, update 58, 0.1.
If you're curious on how these devs managed to create all these wonderful dungeons, then if you're planning on being at PAX East, you could attend a special event where the devs will be talking all about this. What's this all about? Should I give this to you, Drac, or should I give it to Court?
Cordovan could do it since he's here.
Yeah, totally. So for really the first time since pre-pandemic, we are going to be attending on the DDO side a panel at PAX East. We're going to be presenting at PAX East.
Amazing.
And it's called How Game Devs Build Dungeons Live, and that's what we're going to do. We had put out a survey within recent weeks to a couple of just sort of words to spur the creation of the dungeon that we are eventually going to build and bring to the game. And so we're going to be getting together at PAX East and talking about the process, both everything from like pitches to the process of how it gets done. There'll be an opportunity for Q&A as well. And then that evening, we're having a community meetup at Lucky's Lounge, which is a bar not too far from the Boston Convention Center. And it's going to be Thursday, March 23rd. The presentation is at 2 p.m. and will be broadcast on twitch.tv/PAX2. And runs from 2 to 3. And the community meetup runs from 6 to 9. And that's at Lucky's Lounge, which you can find out more about by going to DDO.com. I do have a survey to RSVP. So if you are going to attend, if you're in the PAX, if you're attending PAX East, or if you're just in the area and think going to hang out with a bunch of DDO players, including us, is a cool idea, you can totally do it Thursday, March 23rd. But you do need to RSVP because we have a certain number of people we can bring into the place. So you can find that link over on DDO.com. And just send us RSVP saying, hey, me and two other people or whatever are going to be attending. So it'll be cool. We have swag.
You have swag.
We have swag. You will get something. Some of it may be old. Because I always bring my archives with me that I can distribute. So we've got some things from pre-pandemic, but I think we're doing something new too.
Oh, sweet.
It's going to be sweet. And I can't even say the word, but I hear we may have a couple of extra special super duper uber sweet gifts that we're going to do a giveaway for at the community meetup. So if you want to attend, you should. We'll be doing a drink ticket and some snack style food. This won't be like a full dinner. It's going to be kind of snacks, something along the lines of like bruschetta and pizza bites and things like that, And it is at Lucky's Lounge. So stop by, get some swag, chat with us, hang out with other DDO players.
You're making me want to fly to Boston.
I know.
To PAX now.
And we have, so on the Lord of the Rings Online side, we had a huge opportunity to go to DevCom this year, which is associated with Gamescom. And while there, I was part of a group where we were able to do a presentation at DevCom about making the Lord of the Rings Online for 16 years and have a community meetup there. So for me, this will be the second post-pandemic meetup I'll be doing. But it's still the first local one for sure since early 2020, and a pretty exciting time. So
yeah, it definitely sounds amazing, and I will definitely watch. Hopefully that stream will be archived because I'll be at work, unfortunately, but hopefully that'll be archived and can definitely check that stream out at a later date too.
Do you know if PAX 2 archives their streams?
I don't.
I'm not sure if they do or not.
It's a question I'm going to have to figure out. I assume that the community will take care of this issue for us.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was about to say too. I'm assuming if it's not done officially through PAX, it will be out there and available, I'm sure.
It'll be out there somehow, whether they win it or not.
But I think there is an opportunity to do it because we'll want our own copy, obviously, too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once again, that is at PAX East, and the panel is in room 210 if you're attending the Albatross Theater, Thursday, March 23rd from 2 to 3 Eastern Time.
You can also say it's going to be Torque and Tolero, Nobob, and Artemis who are doing the presenting. And I'm really essentially just moderating kind of intro and doing Q&A and things like that.
All right.
I'm going to be up on stage in the Albatross. That'll be crazy.
That is crazy. That's awesome.
You're going to have to wear a suit or something.
Yeah.
Let's now head into our one last story about our DDO news, and that is the latest about world transfers and Cord. What is the latest on this?
We're currently in the later stages of getting out a fix, which will allow us to re-enable server transfers. And once we have some internal testing to do and then a deployment to do, and then we need to validate that deployment at the very least before we can really announce anything. But we're in the process of getting to there. And once that's done, we'll let everyone know what our server transfer plans are. We are going to extend, the end time for the hardcore after party. We will provide some extra time for people to transfer to Orion and Sarlona. And I think those are really the two most impacted folks right now. But general transfers will return as well in the near future. We're getting there. We're almost there. We just have some final work that needs to be done before we can really announce things.
All right. Then let's head into what's coming in from the dungeon. Where Dungeons & Dragons replicas of the realms Mimic chest life-sized figure. When you say life-size, how big is this?
20 by 15 inches. Okay. So it's a decent-sized chest, I guess. You have to, if you're watching the YouTube version of the episode right now, I'm going to have this picture on the screen. If you have not seen what these mimics look like, go check them out. If you're listening to the audio version of this, go over to DDO Players. In the show notes, we'll be linked to this article so you can see this. But this thing looks freaking amazing. It's made of foam. It's 20 by 15 inches. Of course, it's based on the iconic Mimic monster. It's going to be available July 23rd. $399 is the MSRP. But I would love to see if these look.
Foam kind of could be anything, though. I mean,
right?
What do they mean by foam?
That was my only problem. Is it just says foam, and I'm like, okay, what kind of foam?
For $400, clearly they're going to do a high quality product here.
I would hope so. Like in all of the other icons that they have come out with, because they have done like the hand and eye of Vecna. They've done Drit's statue. They did a dragon bust and a beholder and something. I forgot what else they've done. Everything they've done has been really good. So I am I don't have $400 to blow on this, but if I had $400 burning a hole in my pocket, they might have my money for this.
Take it from the DDO Players News ad budget.
See, that's right. There you go. There you go. You'll see less ads for us because I'm buying a Mimic. Yeah, these things are pretty awesome looking.
I'm joking, of course.
Right, of course. Because, spoiler alert, we have no ad budget. Anyway, right. But yeah, so there you go. If you've ever thought, hey, I need a Mimic, now is your chance. Once again, 20 by 15 inches. They say it's life size. I'm like, okay, is a chest 20 by 15 inches? How is... I don't know what they mean. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Is your average treasure chest 20 by 15 inches?
Well, considering the type of things that you put into treasure chests, they really can't be all that huge or they'll be impossible to carry.
Well, I guess that's true, too.
I mean, if you put things like gold and silver into a chest...
Yeah, I mean, if you would...
Those aren't light.
That's true. That's true.
You're asking dangerous questions here. Can you really fit a longbow in a chest?
Well, okay,
see,
now we're coming.
Yep. I was just about to bring that up, but
I think I think that is why they invented composite bows, so that they could fit them into a chest. Or I should say redoubled bows. But since redoubled bows tend to be composite. That's why they invented them, so they could fit into the
exactly.
chest. Yes. Let's go and see what's on the tabletop. Where Hero Quest, the Mage of the Mirror Quest Pack.
Avalon Hill just keeps pumping stuff out for the new Hero Quest. I give them credit for that. Yeah, we talked about this on the show before. If you watched any of our, on our social media, because, spoiler, we didn't have any videos from Gen Con this year. Long story. I shot a bunch of videos, but nobody got to ever see them. Anyway, we did show this off, and we talked to Avalon Hill about this. They had this shown up at Gen Con, but yes, this is a new expansion for the new version of Hero Quest. Players are going to battle the Archmage Sinestra. He has kidnapped a princess, and you, as the player, will need to navigate the elf character through multiple solo quests to prove your worth by recovering a legendary sword, freeing 2 of the queen's attendants, and then making your way through a maze. And then you are going to join up with your party after that, and then you're going to take on the Archmage himself and free the princess. It's going to contain 10 quests, 33 miniatures, 2 mirror stands, 35 game cards, a new title sheet, and of course the game guide. It's going to retail for $44.99. You can pre-order it now over at Avalon Hill. They're expecting retail release Q1 2023, so anytime soon here, I would assume this is going to be out. They haven't gave an exact release date, but and they did say that by the time this releases to retail, it will be included in the app, so you will be able to run through through this with the app as well. Yeah, I'm excited for this. I have been enjoying the new Hero Quest. I've been playing it solo a lot with the app, so I actually haven't played it with any of my friends yet, but I've done it solo, and it works fairly well with the app, actually. So more Hero Quest is good.
I have to admit, I don't have much to contribute to the tabletop discussion this time around. I have not really played anything new or exciting. I was playing with my son, though, a simple dice game called Dairyman, and that can support up to like 4 or 5 players, and that's a really fun game. So I would recommend that, but I haven't
I'll have
really
to look
seen
that
or
up.
played anything new in a while.
I haven't heard of that one. I'll have to look that up. Yeah.
I did get a 3D printer though over Christmas.
Oh,
I got a resin
sweet.
3D printer, so that's kind of like having like the world's largest board game, because you can just you can make crap
just,
forever.
You can print whatever you need for whatever game you want.
Yeah, I haven't really got it going yet, but because it's a little skill that you have to work on. But one of the things I'm looking forward to is making fun little game pieces for sure.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
See what we have in our week in gaming. And Track, what were you up to?
Well, as we kind of alluded to at the beginning of the show, did roll up a Dark Hunter, and that was to play with you. We ran through the first couple quests of Isle of Dread. As I said, enjoying the heck out of the Dark Hunter so far. I've only had that one playthrough with it, but so far there's not much I don't like about it. The only thing that I neglected to think about, usually on my Rangers that I roll up, I always do Arcane Archer, so I always get the create arrows, and I didn't think about that until we were halfway through like the second dungeon, and I ran out of arrows, and I went to make some, and I'm like, oh crap, I don't have that skill. So I can say with all honesty, because I did it, Dark Hunters can punch and kick pretty good. That's how I end up fighting for a while, because I didn't have any arrows. And then finally I started getting some out of chest, because I told Pine Leaf, I'm like, come on, you would think out of one of these chests some arrows would drop. Finally Pine Leaf had some in the inventory that he gave me. He traded me, and then it was like the next chest after that, I'm like, oh look, I got a stack of flaming arrows out of this chest. But yeah, so
I had to prime the pump in order
yeah,
to come out.
because I'm like, I cannot believe I did not think about the fact that I can't make it, but I can make them now because I looked to see what other tree that was in, and I figured out that I could get them out of the now I want to say the name of it. I can't think of what tree that it's in. Horizon Walker. It's pretty much 2 points into Horizon Walker and you can get Conjure Arrows. So I have it again now, but it was kind of embarrassing because I told Pine Leaf, I'm like, yeah, I'm a ranger. I shoot, I pew pew, and I can't pew pew because I have nothing to pew pew with. So I'm just gonna punch things and hope that they die, and they eventually died. It took a while. I was beating the crap out of boxes and everything, though. I was pretty good at punching them. But yeah, that was a little embarrassing because I went to attack and it's like, you have no ammunition, and I'm like, what do you mean I have no? And I'm like, oh, I don't have any ammunition.
Well, it is a bit of a problem that when you veteran a character, you start with 0 money.
Right. Well,
that's true.
Yes.
Yeah. We do have
true.
the shared.
And that's what I did, because I had myself set up with some pretty nice bows and I had some arrows, but my problem was I didn't pay attention to what arrows I was grabbing. So the arrows that I did have in my inventory, I couldn't use because they were for a higher level.
Yeah.
Because I had moved a quiver over and I moved some arrows over and a couple bows over. So I wasn't, starting from nothing, basically. I had set the character up a little bit, and then I had went through all of the arrows, and then I thought, okay, I'm going to pull arrows put them into my other quiver. And yeah, I went to use them and I couldn't use any of them. And then I looked and I'm like, oh yeah, that's level. That's a problem. So yeah.
Yeah, I realized that this probably wouldn't really be a solution in your case there, but I often like to have a low-level returning thrown weapon
Yeah, and
that I just sort of keep in my bank, and then I'll equip it on characters that can't yet create their own ammo and stuff, just as a backup.
I thought about that. I should have done that, because as I'm running around punching things, thinking, okay, this is stupid. What should I have done? And that's exactly. And I thought I need yes. So I'm gonna grab. Well, it's not an issue now because I can actually conjure arrows again. But
right.
I definitely.
It usually is just a short-term issue, though, right? Because most classes that need lots of ammo can make their own pretty quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, and then I finally started get it out of chest too, which I couldn't believe. I'm like, come on. And I literally said, throw me a bone here and give me some arrows in a couple of these chests. It's like,
you're the person who was like punching crates, like, please drop 20 arrows.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was me last night. I'm like, come on, let there be arrows in this. Dang it.
I can't speak. I'll have my own story when it gets my turn.
But so that was DDO, and other than that, the only other thing I did since I was sick, I watched a lot of TV. But game wise, we did do Waterdeep Dwarves. We are nearing the end of our Waterdeep adventure. We are in a huge tavern fight, which if we survive it, it's going to be a miracle. But the problem with the tavern fight is once we actually survive the 40 people that we're trying to fight our way through, we're pretty sure our friend Xanathar the Beholder is going to be next, and that is who we're trying to kill. So we're probably going to go into the boss fight with Xanathar right after a tavern fight. So we'll see how that goes for us. And for those that still wonder, yes, I'm still a dwarf. We are nearing the end of the adventure, so I'm hoping I'm going to go back to my drow form soon. Beaker, I'm looking at you. I'm sure you have a plan for this. So let's get this plan going.
Is his name Nice Beaker?
That's true. It is Evil Beaker. That is very true. So we'll see. But yeah, we're, like I said, it's kind of interesting that we're actually towards the end of this long, because we've been playing this for a couple of years now. So we're finally towards the end. So we'll see what happens. And game wise, that's really it. Like I said, I've been sick, so no gameplay, unfortunately. How about you, Pinely? What were you up to besides the Isle of Dread, which I guess you can talk about your new character?
Yes, I created for that particular run a Storm Singer, as I mentioned earlier, since the Storm Singer is the favorite of the archetypes that have been released so far. And in doing so, I created this thing, went all the way through. We started running the initial dungeon and all that stuff. And then I said, oh, look, I have this ability that allows me to use my Inspire skill so that I could help Drac to create thunderbolts when he does his attacks. In this case, of course, for him, it's probably going to be ranged attacks. And I set this all up, and somehow, because of the order in which they place the skills in this, when I set up my character and trying to prepare it for the run, I completely missed the perform skill. Now, don't ask me how I created a bard without a perform skill.
He's like, wait a minute, I don't have that. And I'm like, what don't you have? And he's like, perform. And I'm like, you're a bard.
So you're more of a punk bard, really. Yeah.
So right after the session, I said, well, it's a good thing that we all get, whenever you create a new character, you get this freebie.
Heart of Wood.
Yeah, Heart of Wood. That's it. That's what those things are. You get this freebie Heart of Wood that you could use just in case you so fouled up your skills that you want to redo them. I don't think I've ever used the freebie Heart of Wood before in any of my other characters. So this is the first time that I've actually done that. So I went and used the freebie one and redid my skills. And now, next time we meet, I will have that perform skill. And I just have to remember to use that inspirational Drac so that we could get more thunder blasting all throughout the lands against those enemies that we're going to run into in the Isle of Dread. And also, on my soloing Storm Singer, I reached level 8, which is good. Now, I had run the one where the quest where you use all of those curse, after touching all the curse monoliths, where you go into the temple in order to break the temple in there. And what happens is when you start that temple, you spend those curses that you got. I forgot what you actually call them, the things that break the curses in there. But you spend those items in order to run that dungeon and cancel out the curses. And I went through all their stuff and forgot at the end that you had to go down the center of a particular area or you fall into a pool of piranha. And I was level 7 at the time. For some reason, that quest is the only level 8 quest in the Isle of Dread. I don't know why that's the outlier on that.
It's the end cap.
But the problem is it's not written as the end. Because you have a part 1 and a part 2. It's the end cap of part 1 and all of part 2. The other part feels like part. I guess you were intending to do all that what I call part 2 stuff between the curse monoliths and the into it, because I tend to, maybe you intended to be running the opposite order than in which I've been running it, because I've always been going after the curse monoliths first and then the end cap, and then it looks like they're saying, well, now that you're free of the dungeon, maybe you can go and help us with other matters. So I go and do those other matters.
Here, actually.
What?
Yeah. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong dungeon, actually.
Yeah, but I know it feels like an end cap because you're breaking the curse that allows you to leave the island. And the one that I would have thought could have also, the other one is there's also another one, the end cap for part 2, which is also rather nasty in its own way. In any case, the level 8 dungeon is the one which allows you to leave the island. Anyway, I got eaten by piranha because piranha just love the taste of swarm singers. But now that means that I now had those curses. If I reran it, I'm going to need to have those curses on me, which is not a good idea. So I reran the 3 ones where you break the curses into there. And I just reached level 8, so I'm hoping that this week I'll be able to go and run and finally free myself so that I can leave the Isle of Dread.
On one of the curses you can block. There's like this knife that's kind of spins over your head and then shoots down at you, and then you take some damage. If you block, you'll negate that damage. That's one way to get through that curse.
My skill at blocking is zilch.
You just have to be if you're kind of slow and systemic about it, you can kind of get used to the cycle of it and how to make it work. But that's one way to not dispel that curse. The reason you wouldn't want to dispel it is if you keep each of those 3 curses active, you'll get a chest for each one.
So some people will run it with the curses active so they get those extra chests?
I do usually, yeah.
Okay.
I find as long as I do the blocking myself and frankly have like a hireling backup healer or something to help out, I'm fine. But that's just me. So
that's just you. For me, trying to stick my orb up into the air every once in a while to stop a blade is not going to work. Then, as on tabletop, my game for this month was Eon's End Past and Future, which is the latest expansion to Eon's End, where they look at the origins of the Eon's End story and then look a little bit at what's coming up along in the storyline. So I had a lot of fun doing that. And that's my week in gaming. So, Cord, what were you doing in gaming?
So on the DDO side, I guess I'll start with the live stream on Friday where I went into Kill 10 Rats and I made a series of dumb moves, which ended up being not dissimilar maybe to what you experienced, Track, running out of
It was amazing to watch, though.
Yeah, it was. So I went in solo without a hireling healer or something, even though I can't really self-heal. But I figured I'd be fine. And I would have been if I had thought to bring along any form of lesser restoration or something like that. And I chose to do the Otiug optional fight. So the Otiug ended up hitting me, made me helpless. I have no lesser restore potions, no way to restore myself, and I kind of got into a situation where I couldn't attack the Otiug because I didn't have any way to unhelpless myself. And so I'd briefly unhelpless and I get a few shots and I almost got it down. Almost basically, it was just at a sliver, really. Actually, maybe I even did get it down eventually, but I think I did stick around and get it done eventually. But it was a pretty painful process, and all because I did not pack some lesser restore potions. I thought I was too high level. I didn't need it anymore. I was wrong. But then on my own personal time, I've been mostly mostly on Wayfinder running the anniversary event. I want to get a new sentient gem, and I want to get that sentient gem of the dragon. And so I've been running the anniversary event to get enough party favors to get that on my barbarian. And that I'm considering using a +20 on that barbarian, turning her into a dark hunter, but I haven't quite thought it through yet. So that's mostly what I've been doing, is doing the anniversary event. We did give out a free party punch for the weekly coupon recently, and I used that to get some party favors by just chugging it and then running some low-level quests with lots of mobs in them. It can be a way to sort of farm up some party favors if you're interested. You know, kind of the old Crystal Cove style Butcher's Path Cobalt Assault method, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
And so I did a little bit of that just to help get me the party favors I needed. But I'm back to running the event itself for a bunch of reasons. And so I've been doing that, and almost there on the sentient gem. So that's really what I've been doing on the DDO side. I've got one of my most played characters right now is on Orient. It's my Dark Apostate, and I love that Dark Apostate. I'm just loving playing it. But that character needed a bit better gear, and I needed to really completely fill out my Isle of Dread items. I've got a couple now. And so I did that work too not that long ago. So I don't really have anything for tabletop, unfortunately, that I could say. I could say, you know, in my own life, I was recently on vacation, and like I do, I go flea marketing and such for old retro game carts, and I found the Dungeons & Dragons AD&D Treasure of Tarman cart for the Intellivision.
No way.
Yeah. I found just a loose card of it at one of the flea markets there, and was able to pick it up cheap. It was awesome. So now I've got both AD&D games for the Intellivision, and that was pretty neat.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And otherwise, I guess if I can do a shout out for a tabletop game, this is one I found on Itch.io a while back. It's called Fake Chess, and it's not chess, but you play it kind of. The idea is it's supposed to be like a chess match between chess experts that you might see on a movie, television show, or something like that. You know, those high drama chess matches. Yeah, and it's you recreating that through a game that uses a chessboard but has really nothing to do with chess whatsoever. So, like for example, you can do things like if you stand up, walk around, look pensive, and then, you know, run back to your chair, slam down the piece and go, aha, things like that. And it's very cool, and you can check it out. It's called Fake Chess, and it's on Itch.io.
Well, I will definitely check that out. That sounds amazing.
All right. Well, that's a weird one, that's for sure.
Yes.
Then that's it for our weekend game, or more like month of gaming. So we currently have 14 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to help support DDO players, you go to the Nation's Page to support Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money will be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. And we actually have a couple of comments this week. Drac, what's this all about?
Yeah, over on YouTube, on the last episode, we did have a couple of comments. First one was from Axel, who, if you are not following him on YouTube, do so. He makes some amazing DDO videos. So shout out to Axel. Watch his channel. It's amazing. He says, a full Cicadia cycle. I will never think of DDO's age and anniversary in quite the same way again. And if you've listened to last episode, you know what that's from. And yes, I agree with Axel. And then Jack FBN also says, another enjoyable episode. Thanks, gents. And mega kudos on the OGL episode as well. Well worth the time to hear. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Cordovan, do you have any final thoughts for this week?
No, other than happy 17th anniversary. I had a fun live stream on Tuesday evening, hanging out with people and dropping some things in game and things like that. So, yeah, just really nice to be here.
And thank you. And thank you for 17 years of gameplay. And the Players Alliance has 2 shows on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. US user time. We have DDO Players News, though that has been known to vary in time every once in a while.
Wednesday-ish.
Wednesday-ish, yes.
Yeah, you know. And hopefully it'll get better, folks. Hopefully. Yeah.
And on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. US Eastern Time, we have the Loach Players News. You can join us for our shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Piling Needles reminding you to quest responsibly.